Welcome back to Canadian Justice, where we're discussing Canada's program of temporary visas for people from Gaza. Now, I want to talk about what other countries are doing because it's quite distinct from this program Canada has announced. So, first, Australia launched a program in late 2023. I think one of the differences that you've pointed out in your Law 360 column about this issue is that Australia had much more stringent security checks compared to Canada, including criminal record checks, character tests, looking into family background, known aliases, known associates. Canada doesn't seem to have that level of stringency. And then if we compare this program to the programs offered by countries that actually border on Israel, like Egypt, like Jordan, like Lebanon, they do not have programs at all. What can you say about why Canada is engaged in this program with what you describe as sort of lax security screening, and why other countries are doing a lot more or doing nothing at all?
Well, I wouldn't characterize the security screening as lax. I would characterize it as lacking transparency, w- and and I feel that the type of questions that are being asked of individuals should be much more stringent. We need to know what their associations are. Did they ever support Hamas? Did they ever provide any material support? Any accommodations to Hamas members? Did they ever contribute financially, make donations to Hamas or to Islamic Jihad, for example, or any of the other groups? Um, there should be in-depth interviews regarding their questions that should be put in writing to them first, and then compare with the answers that they would give orally. And then the intelligence services should assess the credibility of these individuals to see if they are hiding anything. With respect to the Australian program, it's much smaller. It's limited to 800 people in total. And the Australians have publicized the type of questions that are going to be put in to people. And when you compare that to what we know about the Canadian program, it's much more stringent. With respect to countries that are in the Middle East, Arab countries, not a single one of them has committed to take any individuals from Gaza, especially Egypt. And the reason is because, as you know, none of those countries are democracies, and they have autocratic regimes that have concerns about the introduction of individuals into their population that might possibly agitate against the government. As you know, Egypt is extremely reluctant because Egypt had very serious problems with the Muslim Brotherhood at not that many years ago. So the other countries have done absolutely nothing. There was a plan at the beginning of the conflict that the United States proposed to Egypt to move the Palestinian civilians to the Sinai Peninsula, that's controlled by Egypt, and just have encampments there so Israel could eliminate the
Mhm.
terrorists of Hamas and their associates much more rapidly and without civilian casualties.
Now,
Egypt rejected that.
I want to ask if all of this is kind of a moot point because the only way this program functions is if people in Gaza can leave. And if you, as you mentioned earlier on, Egypt is not readily opening its border. So how likely do you think it is it will get anywhere close to that 1,000 cap if people can't leave Gaza? We've only got about 30 seconds left.
Yes, no, I think that people will get through eventually. It might take a long time, but I think they will get through. And the cap, it's difficult to predict. I think there is an enormous amount of political pressure, particularly
Hmm.
amongst people in the Liberal Party
Yeah.
that they want to
We
erase the cap.
we've got to go to commercial. We've got That's all the time we have, but thank you so much, Sergio.